Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. This is Brad Varnell. This is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And guys, I know I'm always excited. Every time I start a video, I'm excited. But folks, this is truly a one of a kind video. Since this channel started, I've never done anything like this before. And I am the most excited that I've ever been to introduce this guest speaker. So this gentleman is about 33 years old. He's just tearing it up in life. We've had an opportunity to get to know each other just a little bit. We have a lot in common. It kind of turns out that we were both entrepreneurs at a very young age. He got started, trying to achieve financial freedom in his life at about 16 years old. And, through a lot of trial and error and figuring, out what worked and what didn't work, I think he's come across a pretty amazing concept here. Those of you that have been paying attention to the world know that artificial intelligence is getting smarter by the second. It's doing all sorts of things that we couldn't do in the past. And that's one of the reasons why this company, Incomation, exists. So without any further ado, I want to bring this gentleman onto the channel and welcome Jamie Divine. Thank you so much for being here today, my friend.
Honored to be here, Brad. Thanks for having me.
Man, it's definitely an honor to have you here. I'm just so excited. I know that this is a newer concept, but it was introduced to me about a week ago, and I've pretty much just I couldn't hold back. I've been telling every single person that I knew about it. I've been posting the videos in my Telegram group for my YouTube channel, and I can see it looks like we got a ton of people here that are excited to kind of figure out and to be able to hear from you exactly what in the world I am so excited about. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. And why don't you just tell them a little bit about Incomation and why it came to its existence?
Sure, buddy. Happy to help. So Incomation is simply income automation put together. As you mentioned, from an early age, I was trying to figure out the massive pain that me and my family had around money. My father passed when I was 2 years old. My mom was a single mom with 4 kids. And I was the oldest, so I had to really figure it out at an early age, and went through a lot of trial and error, a lot of programs and all that sort of thing. And some worked, some didn't. About 5 years ago, I got into trading with AI robots. So I never saw myself as a trader, but had a friend introduce me to the whole concept of using artificial intelligence and automation for trading. And so that made a lot of sense to me. And again, whole lot of trial and error, like most of the robots didn't work, and some of them worked for a little bit and then would blow up in your face. But we ended up finding a few that worked over the years. And then the biggest challenge was just, okay, how can they come up with the capital to make it worthwhile? Like the returns were great, on average around 5% per month with the robot. But if someone only had $1,000, you're only talking $50. It's not going to change your life. But then we had other clients that had 100,000, 500,000, a million or more in their trading account, and hooking up the robot to that got really interesting. So it wasn't until last October that I came across these prop firms, which, if you haven't heard of a prop firm, it's short for proprietary trading firm, and they've been around for decades. They're traditionally the guys on Wall Street, for example, that would train traders, or they would hire traders to manage their large multi-million-dollar funds. And so in the last few years, these prop firms created what they call a challenge model, which is essentially they open the doors to anyone in the world that can pass their test and their requirements for their trading. And if you are a trader or have a trading system that passes the requirements, they give you access to the capital. So at first it just was myself, figuring it out with a buddy, that we just went like mad scientist mode and locked ourselves in the room and didn't eat and sleep, and figured out how to pass these challenges and get our own accounts. And then naturally, a couple months of that later, we wanted to help out our friends, and they wanted their mom and their cousin to have an account, and yada yada. It started to really take off. Yeah. And then last month we officially opened the doors, and we're over 1,000 accounts now. We haven't failed any of the challenges. A lot of them are still in process, but yeah, we've had a really high success rate. It's been quite a wild ride, and apparently everyone wants one. So we're just trying to keep up.
Yeah, man, that is fantastic. One of the things that I thought was interesting, I'm 49, getting ready to turn 50 in July, and I consider myself reasonably financially savvy, and I'd never heard the term prop firm before. And when I'm talking to some of my friends and family, one of the first things that I tell them is I ask them, hey, have you heard of a prop firm? And when they say no, most of the time, I say, well, me neither. But one of the things that I love about your concept is I tell them, hey, so the traditional markets, their prop firms have been around forever. But the two problems with it for me personally is number one, I would never want to put in the time to become a good enough trader to be able to pass their test and get an account to trade on in the first place. And then number two, I like stuff with leverage. I like passive, passive income or stuff that makes money for me when I'm not there. So even if I went through all of that, I wouldn't have liked the idea of having to sit here in front of my computer screen all day long making the trades. So when I found out that you guys have these, trading bots that, can get connected to these brokerage accounts and pass the test for you, and then it sounds like at that point you connect the bot to the account and it actually does all of the trading for us. And then we just kind of go in once a month and collect the profits. I was super excited about that. And real quick, before my wife jumps in and says this, I do want to thank her for being here. She's always supporting me and big part of this channel, this group. And she always reminds me to tell everybody, folks, this is not financial advice. Jamie will tell you that. I'll tell you that, folks. This is something that we're excited about, but we want you to do your own due diligence. Don't believe anything that we're telling you. After this video is over, go check it out for your own, on your own. Get back to the person that invited you here and ask your questions. Feel free to get in touch with me. But this is definitely not financial advice. This isn't going to be for everybody. But man, everything that I've seen so far, Jamie, has just got me, super, super excited. I also want to put a disclaimer out there, folks. A lot of people get the misnomer that, Jamie and Incomation are like managing our accounts for us, and nothing could be further from the truth. These guys are just providing the proprietary software, the bots. The brokerage accounts are in our name. We're managing our own money. Incomation has no access even to our funds. That was another thing that I really loved. One of my first questions was, hey, when I get ready to split my money, does Incomation get the whole amount and then send me my half? And I was told, no, man, it's exactly the opposite. You actually get 100% of what's yours. And then Incomation is trusting you for their half. So I don't know if you want to expand a little bit more on exactly, once somebody looks at this and says, yeah, this is exciting, I'm interested in moving forward, a little bit about what that takes and what they have to do on their part, and just kind of, go into a little bit more detail about what this is all about.
Yeah, for sure. We try to make the process as simple and passive as possible for the client side. So essentially what you're doing is going and registering yourself at one of the prop firms. We do have a few that, number one, will allow our high frequency system. And number two, we've tested our system on it first to make sure that it works with all their servers and whatnot. So recommend using one of the three that we have on display now. And after you get your account, you buy your pass from us, license our robots so that they'll pass the challenge for you, and you just submit your details and we'll hook it up on the robot. After that, it takes about 2 weeks or so to pass the challenges. You'll get another account from the firm. That's the funded account that you can start the actual trading on. And again, you submit that to our robot. We license you the robot, and it starts trading. And about a month later, you qualify for the payout. You request the withdrawal. Before you request the withdrawal, the firm asks you to stop trading. So we turn the system off, and then you get your withdrawal and send us our 50%. We invoice you for that. And once we get our 50%, we turn the trading back on.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So that's a lot of people have asked me, about that. And so that's kind of cool, folks. So if you just kind of heard it from Jamie's mouth, they're trusting us to send them their split. And but they do have a little bit of power, because if we don't, they turn off the bot and no more money. So that makes sense. And I want to be real careful here. I know that we can't really discuss numbers too much. And we didn't have an opportunity to really, go over what we can and cannot talk about. Is it okay to tell people what the initial upfront is to the prop firm and what the upfront is to you guys to connect the bot? Can we go over those numbers while we're on here?
Yeah, for sure. And just keep in mind, depending on when you're seeing this recording, things shift, as far as pricing and firms and whatever. So, but we can definitely go over the current model, and as well as mention what were your results based on the past, just everyone understanding that it doesn't guarantee anything in the future.
Okay.
But we can go over that.
Fair enough. So do you want to go over those numbers? Do you want me to talk about it, or?
Yeah. So right now we're offering a $100,000 account or $200,000 account. So you go to the firm, you purchase either 100,000 or 200,000, which is either $500 or $1,000. So $500 paid to the firm, you'll get a demo $100,000 account that you can now run the challenge on. You pass that over to us. For the 100,000, we charge $1,500. So now you're up to $2,000 all in. We pass the challenge, get the funded account, hook it up to our robots, and then based on the past, it's been between 2 and 4% on the total balance, and per month. Sorry. So again, doesn't guarantee the future, but that's based on a few months of running these firms. Then the firm will take a percentage depending on the firm. It's usually 20% on average that they take off the top. So let's say we did $3,000 on the 100,000, or sorry, 3% on the 100,000. That's $3,000. 20% to them, that's 600. You're left with 2,400 total, and then you just split it with us 50-50. So you send 1,200 to us, we keep the trading going. That's how that works.
Okay, awesome. So if I understood that correctly, the total upfront out of pocket would be $2,000 to the member. 500 of that, folks, goes to the prop firm. That's not coming to Incomation. That 500 goes to the prop firm. That's basically what they charge you for, to give you the right to pass the test. The 1,500 goes to Incomation. And I've had a few people ask me, hey, why does Incomation take that 1,500? And if my answer is not correct, feel free to step in. But what I'm telling my folks, it's because, once again, they're trusting us to pay them on the back end, guys. So when you get that $3,000 cash out at the end of the month, they're trusting you to send them, well, it would be minus the 600 leaves 2,400. That's 1,200 for us. 1,200 goes to Incomation. They're trusting us for that. And so part of the reason for that upfront deposit, if you will, or that fee, is to just make sure that people are taking care of you the way that they should be. Is that correct? Or is there anything else to it?
Yeah, it goes a little deeper than that. So
okay.
First of all, we have a lot of costs, like just hard costs. We have a developer, we have to license each account. There's a fee per account. Depending on the passing, we have a fee per account on the passing side as well. Then we have our affiliates partners, to pay a commission to. So there's quite a bit of hard costs to the company that we're really just covering our costs to pass the account, set it up with our robots, licensing everything, support staff for weeks and weeks before there's even a payout.
Okay.
There's a lot of costs on our end, and we just, obviously, it wouldn't be sustainable if we paid for people to get accounts. That just wouldn't work. Yeah.
Perfect. Fantastic.
There's also the situation of people already have accounts, for example, that they want to hook up to ours, and we don't do the passing. So it's a little bit separate. Then there's the traders and the people that have their own robots that they haven't been able to figure out how to pass, but they figure they could do well on the account. So then we just do the pass, and they do whatever they want with the account. So it's kind of
Okay.
two separate things. But
Fair enough, man. I appreciate that explanation. That's a lot more in depth. And then once again, folks, this is not financial advice. I did want to mention he went over the $100,000 account. All of you that are watching this, because I've talked to you, the only thing I've ever told anybody is the $200,000 account. And the reason, folks, for that is the $2,000 account is $1,000 to the prop firm, and then $2,000 to Incomation. So you're spending $300,000 to get access, or excuse me, $3,000. Excuse me, you're spending $3,000 to get access to $200,000 of the prop firm's funds for trading, versus $2,000 for 100 grand. So you're basically doubling your ability to, potentially maximize your income, and it's only costing 50% more. So everybody that's on here, we're recommending the 200. Well, we're not recommending anything, but I'm letting people know that nobody that I've referred, including myself, I signed up for the 2,000 or the $200,000 account. Everybody that I've talked to about this that jumped in has got the $200,000 account. If folks decide after this video is over that they really just want to go with the 100K, that's great. But I think 200K is where most of the folks that I've been talking to are landing. Is that kind of what you've seen?
Yeah, if just off the top of my head, I'd have to say at least 80% or more of our total accounts go for the maximum 200.
Okay.
The other thing is each firm allows a certain amount of total funding. So two of our firms, they allow you to have up to 600,000, which would be three different $200,000 accounts. And then one of them is just one 200,000.
Okay.
So that's a total of 7 accounts
Nice.
at 200,000 each. Yeah. So it's 1.4 million if you did all three of the firms. And we do have quite a few people starting right off the bat, getting all 7, and we're able to pass them all at the same time. And that's one way to scale. And then we're also always opening up to new firms. So we're not going to put a limit on anyone.
I love it. I've definitely already got my plans to upgrade to all 7 bots. And I know everybody that I've talked to, even if they're just jumping in with one bot to start off with one account, I can't imagine anybody, once they start making those withdrawals every single month in and month out, that wouldn't upgrade to bot number 3, account number 4, so on and so forth, and max that out. So that's a great question. That was a question that was in the chat that we answered. So folks, really quickly, just to kind of expand and reiterate really quickly, want to make it clear that the prop firm puts up the $200,000. So by proving to them that you're a skilled enough trader, or connecting this bot to the account and passing their test, they put up the 200,000. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, if for some reason you lost some of that 200,000, that's not on us, correct? That's just the risk that the prop firm is taking. So nobody has to worry about the prop firm coming back after them for any losses. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So a couple of things to understand. Number one, the firm is basically a recruiting firm. They're looking for the best traders and the best trading systems, right? And that's the incentive, and that's why they do these challenges and put people through the ringer and see who get the cream of the crop for their own funds. Keeping in mind, most people, when I say most, like over 95% of people are going to fail the challenge. Okay. So that's not with our system, but I'm just saying, like in general with prop
Yes.
firms, that's the situation. And so the firms are obviously making a great revenue on the front end with all the passing fees. But then also on the back end, they obviously want to have the best trading systems for their funds, and what they also need to protect themselves. So for example, the $200,000 account, they're giving you that account. It's a leveraged 200,000, but at the same time, if you ever go into a 5% loss on the account, they're going to take that account away. So they're not necessarily trusting you with the full $200,000. They're trusting you with 5% of that, because if you lose 5%, they're taking it, right? And that's why it's really specific what we need to do with our trading robots to stay within all those requirements, to not only pass but then to protect the accounts from getting breached after that. But yeah, just keeping in mind that's exactly what they're doing.
Okay, fair enough. So with that, if you're ready, I think I'm going to run over here to the chat. We've got a lot of people that are excited about this and have some questions. And I think I know the answer to some of these questions, but that's not why we're here. We're going to let you answer the questions. I can't wait to hear the way you answer the questions and articulate, some of this stuff. So we'll go here. Want to say thank you, Wood Dust 6, for being here. And on that note, what's the likelihood of a prop firm doing an update that kills the bot's ability to do its job, aka communicate? What is your call to action?
Yeah, that's a great question. That sounds like a pretty experienced question, if I understand it correctly. What I'm understanding is that sometimes it's not so much the firms, but the brokers can disconnect a server to a certain system if they're noticing a lot of success, put it that way, off one system. So we actually had that challenge. So I can speak on personal experience from last week. We had a server disconnect last Monday, and luckily I'm very connected in the industry, so I had a couple partners that were able to handle the accounts in the meantime while we figured out the issue. And then after a couple days of not being able to fix it, we just simply had to again go back to the network and find this is for the passing an HFT, a high frequency bot, and we found one within a couple days that's an upgrade that can handle any slippage or server issues. And so this is a little deeper for you beginners, but I'm sure that was a very experienced question. So whatever challenges come up, we overcome them.
Great. This is a great question. This is actually somebody that jumped on board and is super excited. And when he asks this question, how's that work for taxes? I believe what he's talking about is the split. So we were talking about on $3,000, the prop firm gets 600. That leaves 2,400. We keep 12. We send Incomation 12. Do we pay taxes on the 1,200 or the whole 2,400?
Yeah, great question. So there's a company called Deel, DEEL, which the firms use to do the payouts. They're like a global compliance. So there's agreements in place for every country, and then they do the payroll for it. So they do the payout. And we also use Deel on our side, and we invoice people through the same platform. So we make it really simple is what I'm saying. But with the invoice of our 50%, you're not liable for the taxes, bottom line.
Okay, fair enough. And then you already went over this, can we have more than one account? And we answered that. And then Wood Dust has been doing his research too. So right now, 7 accounts are possible. And if I understood you correctly, there's more prop firms in the works, and eventually we'll probably be able to have more than 7 accounts if we wanted to.
Yeah, there's dozens and dozens of firms, and so it's really just narrowing it down to the right ones that run with our system. But we acquired a completely new system that doesn't use the high frequency, which a lot of the firms don't like, and that's what we're running with our beta group. We have over 100 members this week that we're going to be able to open up to every single firm out there with our new system. So we're just gathering the data and making sure we've dialed in our strategies before we open it up to everyone. But okay, that's within a couple of weeks away. So the FTMOs and the MyForex funds and the some of them, if people have been around the industry, the most reputable that they know of will be available.
Okay, awesome. And then another quick question here from Anazette. How many months do you see this running realistically? I know I've had this, asked of me, like, how long is this sustainable for? Can this really last for years, or what are you thinking off the top of your head when you see a question like that?
Yeah, well, just, again, going back to the past never guarantees the future, but we can at least get the history from the past. So just keeping in mind that these prop firms have been around for decades already. They're not going anywhere unless the financial markets are going anywhere. So so that part's pretty solid. And then as far as using trading robots, again, the automation and the AI is only going to get stronger and stronger. We actually have AI coding AI trading robots now. So it's just it's getting to the point where it's we're going to be around for a long time. We're going to do whatever we can. The only thing I see stopping us is if there's a complete like the financial market doesn't exist anymore. We go into a different type of currency. But even then we're working on crypto softwares and robots there. I mean, I don't see an end.
Okay, perfect. I like that sound. I like the sound of that. And then Steve was wondering, are you concerned about the bots losing their effectiveness over time?
Yeah, that's a great question, Steve. If anyone's ever used any bots successfully, number one is hard, but then for a long period of time, because a lot of them end up blowing up with the market conditions changing. So the main one we're using right now, which we by the way have multiple, and we're acquiring new ones all the time because of that to mitigate our risk. But our go-to right now is a developer that's been developing for 10 years. This specific EA, and then designed it for prop firms. And the biggest thing that he does that most don't is every month or two he does an update on the entire robot based on the market conditions. So that's just something that you need to do. Like if you've ever ran a robot or purchased one before, it might work for a little while, but then it usually, as the conditions change, it's gone. So that it's something that you need to stay on top of, and always continue to develop. And so that's what we have is every month or two there's an update, and we go in and we shift all the accounts, and at the same time acquiring new systems all the time in case we ever have to shift to a new one.
Okay, great, man. Perfect answer. Thank you so much. Where are your bots/servers running? I can imagine this ramping up pretty huge. Are you prepared to handle huge amounts of traffic?
Yeah, you're right. We've had a great test run in our first month. We're not even 1 month in operation yet officially, and we're over 1,000 accounts, which of course was a shock to the new system. So we've been hiring new people, new traders, new support staff every single day. We'll continue to do that because we know in the affiliate world, like anything can happen. We can have another 1,000 just overnight easily. So we're keeping up with all that. The servers are all on independent VPSs, so that's not a problem. There's lots of reputable VPS companies. Firms, we're moving into multiple firms so that we're not overloading any one firm too much at one time, which did happen with our first firm, which is why in our second week of operation we opened up to 2 more, and then now in our 4th week of operation we're opening up to dozens more. So yeah, we're just doing everything we can to stay ahead of everything. There's always going to be challenges, so it's just important that we have a strong leadership, and we do, to be able to smash through all that and just continue scaling it.
Awesome. Kevin Blake Weldon, how you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for being here. He says, how soon do you see the ability to trade crypto on this platform? Is that ever something that you guys think will maybe be a part of the future?
Yeah, to give you a few future pieces. Number one, we've already signed off on the agreement of becoming our own prop firm. So that's in the works and only a few weeks out, which we won't stop acquiring accounts from all the other firms as well. Even if it's our own firm, we still don't recommend you having all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Yeah.
So we'll still always acquire the other ones. But secondly, moving into our own financial brokers. So I'm setting up jurisdiction and licensing, which takes quite a bit of time right now for the brokerage side. So we'll be using a partner broker in the meantime. But that's the second thing we're moving into. And then the third is a crypto exchange. And at the same time, we're testing different crypto trading bots as well to be able to bring that into place.
Ah, man, that's exciting. I probably should have mentioned that to my audience, because a lot of people that are just kind of come across this video, through their bells and notifications that have no idea what we're talking about, are probably wondering why we're not talking about crypto tonight. But folks, those of you that are here, I know that we love crypto. And, I'm a huge believer that we're going to see another bull market after Bitcoin halves in 2024 going into 2025. And that's why I'm sharing this with you all, folks, is because my plan is, as this starts to come to fruition and that passive income starts coming into my bank account, I'm planning on using that to buy some of these tokens that we talk about on this channel. I know that a lot of my viewers come to me and say, "Hey man, where can I get more money to invest?" I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I believe in crypto, but how in the world can I get some money into the market enough to make a difference during the next bull run? That's the whole reason for tonight, folks. That's the reason that I'm bringing this to all of you, is because I see it as an opportunity to not only make some fantastic money through Incomation, but also, as you guys have that start coming in, we're going to be doing videos and talking about, altcoins and Bitcoin and Ethereum, and giving you places that you can hopefully invest that money and then 5, 10, 20, 50 exit, during the next bull run. So that's the other reason that I'm so excited about this, Jamie, is it really does give people hard work. And we talked about that, a little bit off stream. We both see this as an opportunity for hardworking single moms and the mom and dads that are both working 50, 60 hours a week and don't really ever get to see their kids. And this is all about creating financial freedom in our lives. And this is just one piece of the puzzle. And folks, you even heard Jamie just say, don't have all of your eggs in one basket. So even him, as excited as he is about this, and this is his own company, he is still here to say, protect yourself, have multiple streams of income. So, thank you for that question, Kevin. That was an excellent question. See what else we got here. So far, we just have well, here we go. This is a great friend of mine here, Timo. Thank you so much for coming. When I shared this information with Timo originally, he said, "Thanks, but I'm not interested." And I told him, "Timo, you haven't had enough information to know for sure whether you're interested or not. Please be here tonight." So I'm glad that you showed up, Timo. Appreciate that. And then, but this is a great question. What do the trading bots trade?
Yeah, that is a great question, and it evolves constantly. So, for example, our first system, high frequency system, we were running mostly on the GU, the GPP versus USD. During the London sessions, and then we came across a system that would do US 30, and it was just a little bit faster to pass, the challenges. And then the new system we acquired just a few days ago is doing high frequency on gold. So that's for the passing side, and then on the back end, we run a much more conservative system, low frequency, if you will. Most of the firms won't allow the high frequency on the live servers, and most of the live servers won't even work on the high frequency because it's an arbitrage system. So as far as trading on the back end, we're running different pairs depending on the strategy, but all the major Forex pairs, and as well as a few crosses. So we're up to about 8 to 12 pairs depending on the strategy and account, because everyone's a little bit different. But just my personal belief too, because when I got into Forex, I didn't even know what the word meant. For example, I just saw the automation side, of the trading robots, and I love crypto as well. But at the end of the day, I've always said I don't care if the trading robot is trading soybeans. I'm just about the
Right.
income and the cash flow, whatever the currency is at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, don't be shy, man. This is we've got Jamie, the man, the myth, the legend, on here. He's extremely busy, so I see a lot of great comments, a lot of excitement. But if any of you are sitting on the sidelines, no question is stupid. Like I said, if you didn't hear me earlier, a week ago, I'd never heard of a prop firm, and as I've been calling and talking to many of you, 95% of you had never heard of a prop firm before I asked you, about it last week too. So there is no question that is too stupid, or that would make you look like a fool. Please, I'm sure that if you're thinking of a question, there's probably half a dozen more people on here that would love to hear the answer to that question too. So let me go down through here and see if I have any new questions. And while here do we go. This is a good question. So Wood Dust 6 asks, do we get to tweak any of the settings of the bot, or is it all managed by you guys?
Yeah. So again, to be really clear, it's not account management. You are licensing our bots, and you do have a say in how you want to what your risk appetite is. So that's all asked in the process of us setting up with you on the funded account. Is we ask you what your risk appetite is, and we'll adjust based on that.
Fair enough. So if I understood you correctly, you talked about this for a brief second. So another, to answer your question, Wood Dust, in a little bit different way, it sounds like Incomation can do a couple of different things for you. Like some people that are professional traders that think they can handle it themselves, they just use Incomation to pass the prop firm's test, and then they do all of their own trading. Once again, like I explained a little bit ago, I wouldn't be interested in that for myself, even if I could do the trading, because I like passive income. So most people are choosing to use this, proprietary software, these bots, and just let it do the work for them. But yeah, it's your account. It's in your name. You're fully in charge of it. None of us ever dictate how you trade it and what you can do with it.
Yeah, and just add to that, we'll also we don't lock people into anything. So if they decide to use our bot in the beginning and then want to take it off our hands and use their own or trade it themselves, totally free to do that, and vice versa. If they try to trade it themselves and doesn't go so well, they can hook it up with our bot at any time.
Hopefully you don't cringe when I say this, Jamie. Once again, this is not financial advice, folks, but just my advice. Let the bots do the darn work. Don't try to get in there and be fancy and try to do it yourself. Once again, that's just my opinion. But to me, why would you ever take something that's this professionally thought out? You've got a developer that's been working on these things for 10 years and try to go in and fix something that ain't broken. So that's just my own 2 cents on it. But you do have the ability to do whatever you want to do. Jeff Atkins, that's a great question. In paying the prop firm their $949, and then in paying you guys your $2,000, can they do that with crypto, or is it just credit cards, or how can they get started if they decide to?
Yeah, both the firm as well as our company accept credit card as well as crypto. So
okay,
both.
Perfect. And then let me go back up. I missed this. Timo had another quick question. Is there a schedule for when the bots trade, or is it just pretty much anytime the markets are open?
As I mentioned, when they was running on the GBP USD, we did have that running on London session. The US 30, we run it on the opening of the New York session. The gold one that we just acquired, we're still testing, but it's pretty much seems to be good to go at any time. So that's exciting because we'll be able to push through a lot more volume and a lot faster, being able to run 24 hours a day. So yeah, it varies, but we're looking forward to the gold. And then the on the back end, it's 24 hours a day because we're running most of the major pairs.
Okay, perfect. And then Jeff asked another great question. I'm sure this was on my mind too, but I wasn't thinking about it in the moment. And I've definitely had a few people that I've talked to ask me this question. That's a great question. Like, how are the prop firms vetted? How do we know that these prop firms that we're hooking up our bots to are going to pay us at the end of the month, and that they're legitimate, good, members of the community, if you will?
Yeah, for sure. There's a few things that I look at. So number one, the first question is, do they allow high frequency trading? Because that's what we're focused on, getting those accounts super fast. So that's the first thing we ask. If they allow that, then we have to run, personal accounts before we hook them up to clients to make sure that the system actually works on that server, because it depends on the brokers. And then after that, it's okay, well, how can we get connected to the ownership or the people that are running the show, so that if we have any challenges, we have someone that can work them out. But then after that, it's really, that is a risk that we're taking on. To be honest, if I'm not the one writing the check, then I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's guaranteed to do a payout. The firms are able to do whatever they decide to do. And on the other side too, even if they have good intentions, no matter what industry, companies fail, right? They go out of business for multiple different reasons. So there's always that risk as well. And so the best way for us to mitigate it is, number one, knowing the ownership, but a lot of times that's not even enough. So the other way is multiple firms, as I said, not having all your eggs in one basket. And that's why we're constantly opening up to new ones. This next phase of opening up to all the firms is we're just not having the requirement of the high frequency. So that opens the doors up for sure. And then it's just, okay, what are the top 5, top 10 that have been around the longest, that have, been paying out the most? And because it's such a new way of doing the prop firms, yep, even the longest running ones are still have only been around 2 to 3 years. So it's just a new space, in general. And that's why I always talk about that risk of the back end on the payouts, because it is legitimate. And so if what you are risking at the end of the day is that initial challenge fee,
Perfect. Appreciate that. Steve Harris, building bots is tricky. Do you also have data and ML scientists working on it?
That's awesome, Steve. Yeah, definitely tricky for sure. You need to have experience in multiple areas. And that's why, even as much as I've had 5 years of running different EAs and even getting into coding them, I still trust the developer that we have. He's been working on it for 10 years. And then after that, it's just a data thing with live, actual accounts. So the great part that we have is the community that we've built that are so willing to be, guinea pigs, so to speak, because even if we run through all the tests and the back testing and we run our personal accounts, it's still, we don't have enough data to really know at scale. But now that we have over 100 beta testers, they're willing to get in there for us with anything. That helps a lot, because within a short period of time, 1 month for sure, we have enough data with 100 accounts or more.
Awesome. Perfect. And then Kevin has another good question. If it's okay with you, Jamie, I'd kind of like to tackle this, and then I'll let you come in behind me and kind of clean up my mess, if that works.
Take it away, man.
So Kevin says, I am sure you are hearing this a bunch, which is, when people say, this sounds like it's too good to be true. Well, folks, what I've been telling folks is, but what if it isn't? Like, just dream a little bit and give yourself the ability to imagine, what if it's not too good to be true? And I'm usually talking with the $200,000 account. So with the $200,000 account and the bot trading at 2 to 4% on average per month, it looks like it's very possible to basically get the $3,000 that you invested back, or a couple of dollars less, couple of dollars more on average, basically in 1 month. So the way I looked at it was, if I put my 3,000 in 30, 40 days from now, I have my 3,000 back. Now I go put that 3,000 into the second account. Then the next month I get 6,000 back. I buy accounts 3 and 4. The next month I get that cash out again, and I've bought 5, 6, and 7. So at that point, if I did it that way, I've got $3,000 tied up, and I now have 7 accounts that theoretically, like they said, there's no income claims here. We don't know what they're going to do for sure, but theoretically, 7 accounts at somewhere in the ballpark of $1,500, $2,500 a month, $3,000 a month is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of, call it $10,000 to $20,000 a month in passive income for a $3,000 investment. If you really wanted to be safe, you could take the money that you make on your first cash out, put it back in your bank account, and wait for the second cash out to start expanding and buying more accounts. So folks, to me, this is just a super, kind of a no-brainer. Like, if $3,000 doesn't mean that much to you, then what do you got to lose? And folks, I don't want to be the bad guy here, but if you're watching this video and $3,000 is a lot of money to you, 3,000 hurts, thinking about putting it up, then you got to think about, the definition of insanity, which is if you keep doing the same thing you've always done and expect different results, that's insanity. So folks, if you're hurting and $3,000 is a lot of money to you, I would also highly consider thinking about doing something like this after you've done your own due diligence, because this is something that can change your life. If 3,000 is a lot of money to you, what's your life going to look like in 3, 4, 5, 6 months if you have $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month, coming in from this? So that was a long-winded, version of what I tell people, but I'm interested to hear, what do you tell people when they say this sounds too good to be true?
Yeah. Well, it's always a good problem to have if your program is just so good that it's hard to believe.
Right.
Number one is usually that just comes from a lack of understanding. So, they need more information to really wrap themselves around what we're actually doing and connect those dots. And then second to that, I mean, there's always going to be the people that are just skeptical and they need more time and they need to see more results, and that's okay too. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going anywhere, so they can take their time. But usually the people that, are willing to take a risk, the leaders are the ones that get rewarded the most. That's just how life is, no matter what you're doing. And you just got to, weigh out the risk and the reward. So at the end of the day, you're risking that initial challenge fee to the firm, and you've seen the potential on the back end of what we can do. And you just got to ask yourself, because everyone's in a different situation. Like you said, Brad, 3,000 to someone could be their entire life savings. And then obviously, we're not asking you to risk that, but to someone else, it could be a couple dinners, and that doesn't mean much. So it just depends where people are at as far as taking the risk. But at the end of the day, everything's a bit of a risk, and they just got to acknowledge that and take it. And if they need more information so they can make an educated decision, give them all the information and the time that they need.
Yeah, man, I agree with that 100% too. So I should have probably mixed that in. Definitely give them more information. We've got some great videos. For those of you that want to, you can reach back out to me. I can shoot some more information to you. But yeah, definitely always point the people that you're talking to, towards a third party tool. Give them some information, shoot them, towards a video and that type of stuff. Mark, I think you came on just a little bit late, Mark. This is a good friend of mine. I hadn't had a chance to talk to him before tonight, so he's just kind of seeing this cold. I don't know if you want to go back through real fast, or if you just want me to, to have him give me a call after it's over, whichever you prefer, Jamie.
Yeah, I can sum it up for him. So number one, there's two different systems. The first one is to actually pass the challenges, and that's a different system than actually growing the account once we pass the challenge and get the account. So I'll talk about the one after we get the account. The main goal is to stay really conservative and protect the account from ever hitting a 5% loss, because if we hit a 5%, the firm is going to take the account away. And so that's the first objective, is protecting it from never hitting that. And we have certain automation in place that it won't ever do that. Like the worst case, it will be 4%, 4 point whatever, to protect it. And then after that, it's okay, how can we get at least 1, 2, 3, 4% on other people's capital? Remember, it's not a single dollar of yours. After you pass that challenge, it's a completely leveraged account from the firm. So you're not liable for the losses. And even a 1% gain is massive when you're talking $200,000 accounts. So that's our mission with the bot, is keep it very conservative. So the drawdown, the floating loss stays fairly low, and get as many little points as we can on the month.
Okay, perfect. And then my good friend Eric, who once again, he's also jumped in. He's got his $200,000 account ready, rolling, looking forward to the bot passing it. He was wondering, are there any other AIs that work against you?
I'll have to clarify what he means by that question. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, Eric, if you could, if you're still on, which I'm sure you are, if you could maybe be a little bit more specific with what you mean, and we will come back to you on that. see what else. Hey, Mark, you're certainly welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. There we go. If I had 2 accounts and 2 bots, would they be traded the same, or is it randomized to a degree that they wouldn't be taking the same trades? That's a fantastic question.
That is a great question, and it does depend on the batch as far as the different strategies. But there's a lot of variety built in with the different strategies, different pairs, even different bots. So it just depends where it kind of falls in line. But in general, we don't run the same strategy for very many.
Okay. And then it looks like I skipped over one. Once again, this is another one. Maybe if you could throw your comment, maybe specify, what do you mean by what's the strategy to pull more capital? I'm not sure if he's talking about the 1, 2, 3, 4%. And kind of my answer to that stick, and then Jamie can jump in again, is I do believe, I've heard at least, that there's bots out there that can maybe get 10 or 15% occasionally. But the reason that we stay on the conservative side is because any bot that's out there trying to get bigger gains like that is going to eventually blow up the account. They're going to have some bad trades. They're going to hit that 5% threshold and get the account shut off. So we're not interested in trying to maximize that number to the absolute limit. In my opinion, we're trying to do something that is sustainable month in, month out, basically forever. So what do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, exactly. So the strategy to, so some people ask about compounding, and so let's say you made $2,000 your side of the profits on the 200,000 that month, and some people ask, well, can you keep it in there and compound the money? And technically you could, but when you're talking $2,000, for example, you would be better off pulling those profits out and getting yourself another $200,000 account. And so that's where the way we look at it is, instead of pushing the robot to be too aggressive and risk breaching the account, if we just get a couple percentage on it, I mean, it's all, basically infinite return after you get your initial capital back the first month or two. And then you may as well just scale into other firms and other accounts, so keep it lower risk, but keep all the accounts going.
Okay, great. I love it, man. Well, it looks like we're about out of questions. I've taken up almost an hour of your time. So let me just do a little bit of house cleaning, and then I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your day. I thank you so much for being here. But folks, I want to let you know a couple of quick things. If somebody else invited you to this, to this video tonight, make sure that you get back with the person that invited you. In the description of this video, there are some links to help people walk through the steps if they want to get started, but those are my personal links. So you do not want to click on my links unless I was the one that invited you here tonight. If you were invited by somebody else, make sure that you get with them and they will give you their links and they will help you walk through this process. Once again, for those of you that were here because of me, I appreciate you. I love you all, and I'll definitely be here. It's almost 9 o'clock. But I'll be around to answer questions, or if you want to phone call me or message me on Telegram, I'll be around for the next hour or two to help anybody that's excited about this, wants to get started, or has questions. And with that, if you want to leave any final parting thoughts, great, Jamie. If not, we'll just, call it a night, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate everyone looking. It's honored to serve everyone and help with the system. As I mentioned, we're up to 1,000 accounts, and we only had problems with 2. It was a slippage problem with the broker, and we were able to solve that moving forward. So we have a 100% success rate as far as passing. We haven't failed anyone yet. We offer a full refund on our side if we do fail people, or what those 2 asked for was that if we could buy them another account and pass that instead of refunding because they wanted to move forward. And we did that, and we're happy to do that moving forward. So we're really just wanted to help everyone, grow with us, and we'll keep doing what we got to do to stay ahead of everything and make sure this is solid for the long term. So appreciate you guys. If you need any more information, obviously just do your own due diligence before you jump in.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. Thank you again, Jamie. God bless you all, and we'll see you in the next video.